Yo, today's episode is going to be loaded in feelings in the color of black. Black, blackity, black, 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 black. R.P. George Floyd. We're going to talk about black in America. What does looting does to sway the message of the protests? Does it get in the way? Is it harmful? Is it peaceful? What rioting is? And what does a peaceful protest look like? All that and more. Buckle up, it's going to be a long one. Let's get it. What's going on, people? It's the That's the Lifestyle podcast. Back in the building with another series of conversations that are going to get the needle moving. And we are going down the deep hole for this one because make no question about who we are and what we are. And Don't think that we're not going to talk about this thing because it's happening. And we've kind of signaled it through these podcasts. And even though this conversation may go somewhere that you don't want to go, I just want you to remember that you can pause it and come back. Don't step away from this podcast. Don't step away from our channel. Don't step away from wherever you're hearing this at and just leave us in the dust. This conversation, these things, these stories, how we share our experiences are going to be very real to us. And I understand that it may not be real for you because of how you were brought up or where you live, but understand that how you live isn't how everyone else lives. And believe me, we know how we live isn't how everyone else lives. So my name is Snow and I'm your host for today.
My name is Ramon.
And it's the boy Kicks God, a.k.a. Tawann, a.k.a. the Kicks God.
What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, man.
Chilling.
A lot of it's like we can't get a break for 2020 at all. Like we've lost Kobe, we've lost David Stern, we've lost Little Richard, we
lost freedom from
we
COVID.
Lost freedom. We've lost the ability to go outside and interact with friends and family. We've lost loved ones. We've lost our rights. We've lost our rights as Black people. There was huge loss in 2020.
And don't forget about those murder hornets, fam.
Yeah, the murder hornets are the last thing. That's the only gain we've gotten.
I'm willing to bet by October we will see Godzilla.
Or something that looks like him. So it's been really an unfortunate a year for us as a human race. I don't know how it gets better, but I can damn sure tell you how bad it can get or how worse it could get.
Well, it always gets worse before it gets better. And, I would say the water's just starting to boil. Ramon, how about you?
Yeah, it's all coming to a climax, and I don't think the climax is anywhere in sight.
Yeah.
That's the scary part to me.
We've not made it to that apex, right?
Nah.
Nope.
Yeah, so with that, Black in America, what does it mean to y'all?
I guess I'll go first because it's goodness. Well, I guess first of all, before I move on, I will say rest in peace, George Floyd. Rest in peace to what is her name? To
Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor. Rest in peace, anyone who has lost a life to police violence. Rest in peace to all who have lost their life and racial violence. And rest in peace to all that we have just lost throughout the course of this year. And it's unfortunate that I have to say that, because being Black in America and the loss of lives that I have said, it is my fault. George Floyd, rest in peace.
George Floyd.
George Floyd?
Yeah.
Oh, George Floyd. Goodness gracious. It's, you know what? It's a common name, and I do apologize. It's such a common name that is so easy. Sometimes something so easy, so common can be a miss with me personally. But, I said all that to say in the beginning, the loss and the hardship that, Black people have had to face this year in America is very much the same as, or looks the same as, what I view as being Black in America. And it's not just, it's a little more difficult for me, And, I find it a little more difficult, in a sense, this is personal, a little more difficult in a sense when I, as a Black person, a light-skinned Black person, a Black man with curly hair, a Black person that even though I haven't experienced it, some can say that in a Spanish community wouldn't often fit in, and in all black community technically couldn't fit in, and in a white community couldn't fit in. So when I say that to say, a Black person would look at me and call me a spick. And that is a horrible terminology to use for anyone. It is often used for Spanish people of Latin descent. It's very disrespectful. It's just like the term nigger. All right. In a white community, they would call me, they probably call me maybe, I don't know, some half-breed, something derogatory. In a Black community, they would call me something, again, derogatory, because there are elements of racism in every community, because we are a people that are not unified, and we don't understand what goes through the mind of another person whenever those things go through their mind, the unbelonging, the mental health. These things go amiss when it's a person of natural color, and I use it sparingly, a natural color, a natural white person, a natural Black person. A Chinese person cannot be misidentified with a Black person. It's just that simple. A naturally born Spanish person, unless you're Cuban, but even in a Cuban or a Dominican, has features that set them apart from a Black person or a white person or a Chinese person. So for me, it racism or bigotry, I should say, towards me looks a little different. So I'd say that is probably my feelings surface when it comes to being black in America and what it means to me, because in my lifetime, it's always been, oh, you're the person with the good hair. You have the good hair. You're Geechee. You're Geechee. What is the term they use? Again, the term Geechee is very disrespectful. But people don't know that there are adjectives to describe people that are very disrespectful, and some people use them very fluidly, not really understanding the connotation that is behind the words.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, Geechee was referred to. I'm not going to talk about it, but it's not cool. There are a whole lot of adjectives to describe a person that looks like me. So, which, the picture that I posted on Instagram about being black, first and foremost, I am black. All right. What decides the type of hair that I have or my skin complexion doesn't take away anything from the fact that my grandmother was black. My grandfather was black. Yes, my grandfather on my father's side is Native American, and my grandfather on my mother's side is half Native American, but my grandmother on my mother's side was black, and her father was black. So I am black. You know what I'm saying? And that should be, is what I put forward above all other things.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's, and just attempting to, like, I think I face the same type of issues that anyone else face in America. There are the police situations. I think it's also part of understanding what your role is as a civilian in a world where that is still very racial in overtone, and it's very important to move accordingly in this quote unquote white America, because right now that's what I feel it is, a white America. And I'm not going to go all into privilege of whites versus privilege of blacks. However, it all plays a part. We all know what white privilege is. We all know what one race has to deal with versus another race. And it's just important to move accordingly. My father always taught me, my black father always taught me to move accordingly. And I have had discussions about upbringing and what part it plays in a person's life. And although, the person had their own feelings about where one's upbringing should be, I feel like a person's upbringing is very important to the person that you become. When you're taught at an early age how to move in this world, those are things that carry and transcend. Those are things that make you into the person you become. You know what to say when police are around. You know how to it don't look right. Hold your tongue. And in this day and age, if you're recording, record silently. I don't have to heckle a police officer that thinks he's doing his job. All I got to do is stand there and record at a distance where you are, you don't impose upon the police officers doing their quote unquote job. So now when you disseminate that information that you've captured, the story will tell it will tell a story. It'll tell a story, or the video will tell a story on its own. You don't have to, I won't be the next victim of police brutality because I got too close or I was impeding on their job. You understand what I'm saying? But again, these things or these factors are all part of me being black in America. It's all part of this, our current society and what we are predisposed to. You know, and again, I don't know if I've properly articulated that, but that's where I am. That's where I am with it. There, okay. It doesn't always come from someone, or the negativity doesn't always come from someone that looks opposite of me. So when I say opposite, I mean a white person. It's from all angles. It's just about your upbringing, how you were taught how to deal with these situations. And that's what I got.
Okay. Ramon, the same question for you. Black in America, what does it mean to you?
What does it mean? I don't know, fam. I truly, honestly don't know. It's a very confusing thing. Like every time someone refers to me as colored, I just want to kick their teeth in. Like,
yeah,
I'm not colored. I'm not black. I didn't know these things until I was told these things when I got here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also heard that in Barbados where I grew up, but fam, I'm a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a logical thinker. When I close my eyes, I can't see anything. And what do I see? Darkness, blackness. So how in the fuck is that a color? Yeah. I'm not colored. And if, for scientific reasons, you need to identify something, black is so far down on the scale of hue, white is actually colored. So every time I hear somebody tell me about colored folks, you're already a dumb fuck. I don't want to hear that. Right. Every time somebody tells me, oh, as a black man, this, a black man, that, you're a dumb fuck. I don't want to hear that. Because I never once said I was a black man. I was told I was a black man. I am an amazing fucking intellect.
Yeah.
That's what I am. So even these conversations about, black people and what it means to be black, son, it's just confusing for me because as far back as I can remember, unity was a thing. You know what black people's problem is? No, sir, I don't. Tell me what black people's problem is. We're not like the Jews and we're not like this and we're not unified. Like, I don't want to be unified with you fucks. And I'm not saying you fucks as black people. Fam, I don't want to be unified with anybody. I am my own thing. I don't want unity. All I want is respect across the board. I don't want to merge with you and think as one because I don't agree with a ton of this shit.
Right.
Or how people see things. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying they're wrong. We all have different perspectives on things. And fam, I'm holding tight to mine. And mine don't align with yours. So don't tell me that unity is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, as being told that I'm a black man in America, it means that I am infinitely times doper than people of color. Do you understand what I mean? Because I had to work harder. I had to work smarter. I had to be tougher. I had to understand the rules of the game I'm playing and how to engage differently. All of these things, son, I would put this up against anyone in a debate. The average white person in this country is in operation and they're using 50% of their operating potential. I'm at 100. Just for me to get to the same seat as a motherfucker who's at 50. That's what it means. That's what it fucking means. It means that every time I walk into a conference room, people look at me like, oh, they start thinking, is there anything I could have said or I'm about to say that will offend? Like, I don't want that. Say what the fuck you got to say. You know what I mean? Like, I earn my space here. And then there are also people that's like, ooh, what is he here? Is he intelligent? I got to reaffirm why I'm in a meeting every time I'm in a meeting. I got to show and prove why I'm the most intelligent person in the room every time. That's what it means to me. You get what I'm saying? Would I change it? I don't know. I quite like who I am. Would I seek a different world where I too can operate at 50% and get all of what I want? That'll be cool. But at what cost? Because everything's a cost with these motherfuckers. At what cost? So, I mean, being black for me is a very unpopular take. But again, I would love to denounce the throne of being a black man because I see myself as a man. You want to categorize me? You can use such things as asshole, arrogant. You can use other things as creative, loving, child, husband, brother. I don't want your black shit because that conversation comes with a lot that I'm honestly not privy to. I'm not part of that systematic foot on the back of your neck shit that black people in America go through. In some respects, I'm not sure I earned that. But to the motherfucker that's pulling me over that would be my harasser, all he sees is, oh, you black. You get what I mean? So from every angle, there's this like, I just don't want to be defined as a black man in America, fam. That's my take on it.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. As far as I'm concerned, being black in America is dope, right? Because it's not just you're black. Like when you really look at it, we're America, we're gumbo. Everybody's gumbo here. Like this whole nation is gumbo. You get what I'm saying? You got your Italians, you got the Jewish, you got the Irish, you got, nowadays, the Chinese, the Korean, the Japanese, the Vietnamese, your West Indies. Everyone's here. Like, everyone's here. That's the dopeness about America, right? It's all one big gumbo. Being black here is, we can see today what we've known for 25 years, that, we got the shits too. Like, we're dope too. We've had to watch standards of beauty be told that, hey, you look like this, that's not cool. But if you got that skin over there, well, you know what? Let's take these braids off you and put it on this whiter body over here. Let's take these lips that we joke about these black people with and do surgery to get your lips over here. Let's talk about your hip dips, or let's talk about that ass you have, which white women were oppressed on for so long. And then all of a sudden, today, every white woman is fucking thick of a certain age going to a certain range. And it's fine. And it's love your curves and this, that, and the third. When we've been always called fat, black, and ugly, however. You get what I'm saying? Like, the same tools yesterday used to destroy us, today is the tools preferred. Our dancing is preferred. Our entertainment is preferred. Our dress styles are preferred. Our hairstyles are preferred. Everything that we've ever done has been validated with a backhanded compliment. Mm-hmm. That's black in America. That's part of being black in America. Oh, the rap is aight, but y'all do too much of this. Okay, cool. Someone who's not like that, who is one of us, starts saying some other stuff. somehow magically that does not rise to the top. But then someone else steps in that happens to be white, and they're given a go. And they win Grammys and they win all this other stuff. And the content of their music isn't that much better, but yet we had to take that on the chin. That's Black in America. It goes with a lot of what Ramon said. It goes with a lot of what Tawann said. I have to work twice as hard and then an extra hard for just regular competition to be able to sit at the table. I have to reassert myself at the table. Even right now, I work for a job to where I can sit with a bunch of people in a room who aren't qualified to have the position that they hold or knowledgeable with the campaigns that we're trying to launch. But because they have the end with the company that I work for, my ideas get dragged out as if I just came out of college, which, if you know anything about a kid that's just come out of college, that's always the future. You don't tear an intern down when they come with ideas. I'm not saying I'm on intern level, but I've proven that I belong here. My resume did that. The announcement to me joining the company did that. And yet, y'all still want to play those games. And some of it is just your regular, yo, don't tread on my lawn type shit. And I get it, right? But when you go back to it, it's the same thing. Being Black in America is being silenced. What's the silence? Some of you may gonna be offended by this, so I'm gonna get into it lightly. We're telling you that something is going on with us, with a particular group of people. These people happen to be the police. Not all of them, just generally. We establish a mantra, and we say, hey, these people over here, you know we matter too, right? Black Lives Matter. If I just said that and it triggered you, all you heard was Black Lives Matter. You didn't hear the part that I said, hey, these people over here matter too. You know what they did? The people who ain't really trying to hear us, and this is the disrespect that we have to deal with. This is the modern disrespect, because it's been there. The modern disrespect is, no. Black lives don't matter. It matters, but like all lives matter. Get in line. Get with us. Okay.
Yeah.
When we do that, we get pushed to the bottom of the barrel like any other social situation that goes on. Okay, all lives matter. What you got? Do you know what we would process it for? It doesn't matter. All lives matter. Oh, okay. Let me cut out of this bag and come from out of there and go back to what we was, because clearly you don't really care. It didn't matter until we started saying that we mattered, and y'all got all pissy and was like, oh no, all lives matter. Okay, then stand up. You don't want to stand up. The second disrespect is blue lives matter. When the fuck did y'all never matter? Did we not all go through the same 9/11? Did we not all go through the same LA riots? Did we not go through all these things together? Is there not images floating around the internet of people helping the police make citizens arrests? Is there not people out there trying to make sure that this one cop up in Buffalo try to get her justice because she was stopping some type of form of police brutality since 2006? That we were standing up for the police because the police wasn't serving her correctly? Or these things do not exist? I think they do. So when did they never matter? We would love for it to not be a mantra, but your blue wall of silence is just as strong as the Blue Lives Matter. It only popped up because we started talking about us. Mm-hmm. That's the part of the Black experience here, being Black in America. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, there's always someone just ready to pop out of some window or from a sewer and be like, hey, no. It's all. It's right. Blue, it's dogs lives matter. It's this grass lives matter. This grass-fed cow lives matter. Like, calm down. Have a seat. That's what it's like. And it's tiring. Where it's beautiful is when we get to see what we contribute. When we get to see what we add, when the history comes out that shows what we've contributed to America, that America involves with, that they don't even know it, but it's just so blatantly shut down that they can't even accept it when we bring it to the truth. Forget about all this protest shit for a second. Like, if you think logically, if you go back to the dark ages, right, and that could be different things for different people. Let's talk about that swine of mine. Do you really think that someone has a whole hog and goes, you know what? Those ribs will look good on some fire. You just had the whole hog. At that point, if we're thinking like that, the ribs are scraps. They're trash. You know what they did? They fed it to the people who were, what would they call us? Half a man? To the lower less? To the people that was in zoos all over the world? To the black people. Right? Mm-hmm. And the black people made ribs a thing to now where the only thing y'all can say is we eat fucking chicken and watermelon. Like, y'all don't eat chicken and watermelon too. Fried chicken and watermelon at that. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's America. People don't even know where the lemonade came from. You don't know. You don't understand why you get in your old school movies with the white fence and a lady with the umbrella over her in the hot ass weather, sitting on her porch with her fucking pinky up, drinking a nice cool glass of lemonade. You don't even understand how lemons were just discarded because, oh, these are sour fruit. Give it to them. Who's them? I'll let you do the homework. You don't know. That's black in America because that history doesn't even get told. And that's very small history, you know, very small, very minute. The other part about being black in America is for whatever fucking reason, we have our own internal colorism. Some of y'all thought I was going to say black on black crime. That's trash. It doesn't exist. Crime happens where you live. If you live in a mixed neighborhood, are they going to call it mixed on mixed crime? Because I can guarantee you statistics prove that white on white crime happens. It just doesn't sound right. See, even in our death, even in our demise, even in our negativity, it still sounds something cool to say. Black lives matter? I want to say lives matter. Blue lives, orange lives, green lives. White on white crime doesn't sound right. Black on black crime sounds bad. Like, that's part of it. You know, the things that we have to deal with and representation. A lot better today than it's ever been, in my opinion. But,
I agree.
But like when we see it, it's hope. It's leading to a change. It's an amazing feeling to see it. It's amazing when I can just watch a commercial and go, huh, they added 2 black people to this commercial in spots that we're not used to being in, you know? And it's a start. I mean, some of you may listen and be like, well, that's fucking silly. Like, yeah, I know it's silly, but imagine all your superheroes being not looking like you. Just imagine that. Imagine all the best movies in the world you've ever watched not looking like someone that you can relate to. Imagine watching wrestling as a kid and telling yourself, you know what? I don't think I can be a superstar like Hulk Hogan or Macho Man or Ted DiBiase or Mr. Perfect or Heartbreak Kid or Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, and notice the era that I just mentioned of stars that I mentioned, because in those times our superstars were the Junkyard Dog. Anyone who looks at that, even as a kid, I looked at that and was like, fam, that's whack. Why did the dope black dude got to be a Junkyard Dog? Like, what is that? Why he comes out with the chains on him? Why he can't have a dope costume like the Legion of Doom or Demolition? Like, why he can't have something dope? I'd rather Coco Beware. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather Coco Beware. And we know where that went, nowhere. So what it means to me is this complicated, undeniable love that we keep giving to this nation, that it feels like, up until recently, I don't feel like this way, but it felt like no matter what we do, it's just never good enough. Whether it's for ourselves or for whoever. And what does it mean? It means it's a headache, but we keep pushing. We don't quit. We keep the chains moving forward. If we're playing first downs and touchdowns, we just keep we keep going to the pylon. What it also does feel like is, every time we get to the pylons, y'all moving back another 100 yards. The line just keeps moving for us. Of course, we have the PTSD. Of course, we've been mutated. There's no denying that. You think we dominate sports for no reason? Spend the money, fam. You'll find out the reason. And if you do the homework, you'll find out why we're not in certain sports. And I'm just going to pin it there because, like Ramon says, I don't fucking know. It's hard to answer that question. Because why can't I just be American? That's all I want is love, respect across the board, fairness across the board. So we don't have to divide the lines. So anyway, let's move on to the next particular subject.
Speaking of lines.
Let's move the chains a little bit. So obviously, R.I.P. George Floyd. And there is the age-old question whenever we're protesting. What looting does to a protest during a protest? Because for whatever reason, a protest becomes looting / rioting. So what does looting do to a protest during a protest?
Ramon?
I think it shows the culture clear as day.
The culture of what?
Of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to talk about protesting, you need to look at the French. These motherfuckers protest. Not enough fucking croissant in my croissant hit the streets. Sound like they don't care. Mm-hmm. They have like some wild number, triple-digit number of protests every year. Mm-hmm. That's their thing, right? If you look at, Les Miserables, the play, it's all about that. It's all about the people revolution. Like, you keep fucking up, fam. Need I remind you that you're here to serve me? That's the attitude the French have. Mm-hmm. Right? And somehow, some way, it gets through. Because they protest, they come out, and shit gets done. Mm-hmm. In America, nah, fam. Nah, fam. You're met with a bunch of, why y'all protesting though? Mm-hmm. Are y'all protesting because my backyard don't matter? Like, fam, if you don't understand why the protest is happening, then it's not for you. And it's okay for something to happen that does not fucking involve you. Mm-hmm. Because this country is founded on a ton of shit that does not involve us. So don't tell me about inclusion. It's not about inclusion. It's about what the fuck I'm making it about right now. Mm-hmm. And protesting has no power in this country because of that. Because people feel, son, the message, the wave never gets ridden. Because everyone wants to invalidate your reason to be upset and protest before you even step foot on the curb. And people's their ideology behind that is fucking infectious. And when the scales are already slanted against you, what are you supposed to do? So protesting does nothing. And what we've learned as of late, rioting does everything. And it needs to be said, I don't agree with the rioting. I don't agree with the fuck shit that's going on. But I am welcoming the outcome of that. Oh, now you heard wait, hold on. So, and I'm not a big fan of Kaepernick. I always felt like he was doing that knee shit because he couldn't compete on the field. And I've been told otherwise, whatever. I don't think he was a genuine character, but that's just me. Nonetheless, this man found a way to protest what he thought wasn't right. And America was like, nah. Okay, my bad, fam. Won't do that again. Hold this riot. Hold this rioting. You said that wasn't enough? Hold this rioting. And I'm staunch on that point. There's no wiggle room. And I don't need to agree with something for it to be right. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Fam, what can you because this is how it works. You want to walk back what could be done, what could have been done better. Because it's all about finding a reason or an excuse to show fault in what you are doing to drive your agenda. So you want to walk it back. Yeah, well, there's better ways to handle this. How? Show me. Because when you go about those ways, you get dismissed. All right, fuck it. And to be honest, this shit ain't hit the fan. Take that riding to the Upper West Side. Recreate that scene from Batman where they're tossing pearls and fur coats out the door.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Now you're going to feel it. Because a protest was about, yo, feel my energy, fam. This ain't right. Nah, you ain't with that. Because you could never feel for me. You could never feel for me. All right, well, now you're going to feel for you. That's it. That's how I look at this rioting shit. I don't care about hypotheticals anymore. How it should be done. How it should be organized. Fuck all that. That's been going on for how many years? The minute motherfuckers start setting shit on fire, driving shit through crowds and all type of crazy shit, Sesame Street's like Black Lives Matter. So Cookie Monster only fucks with us when we start burning shit down? Fuck it, keep burning. Keep burning. Because Cookie Monster, Nickelodeon, that's where it matters. That's where you need to get through to the youth you need to upset what their parents are attempting to teach them. This ain't right. This ain't right. And if that's how you get through to them, until motherfuckers show me a better way, I'm not arguing with the rioting. I'm really not. So that's my stance on that.
Run the engine on that one. My position is similar, not quite the same. A protest is a protest, and in many cases, from what I've been seeing on several news stations and YouTube. YouTube is my new news station. It's probably my main news station, but it's what I've been seeing is many places protesting and the message being heard. I'd say the rioting was maybe the first. Once everything hit the fan, he was murdered. Dude was still on a job. It started in what was it? Missouri? Was it Missouri? Minnesota, something like that. Mm-hmm. That is that. So yeah, it was Minnesota. So the first day it was like, wait, what happened? The second day it was like, nah, get him out of here. The third day was, oh, he's not out of here yet. So we start gathering. The fourth day was, we about to burn this bitch down. The fifth day, because I think he died on a Sunday. And by that Friday, Minnesota was burning. And then it was not only this individual, but all four individuals fired. All right. So, and the war cry was, I can't breathe. So here we have another I can't breathe moment. We have another hands up, don't shoot moment. We have another black man at the hands of police crying for their mother, or crying for the police not to kill them or not to listen. Is there a way you can do what you have to do without me suffering? So, now, shit's off the rails. So that is continuously going on. That's going on. You still have protests. You had a little bit of riots, and then the looting started. See, I'm all for a riot. Some shit, that's the point that I was making when I said I agree in part with Ramon. I'm all for the riots. Burn this bitch down. Because you don't understand, like he said, you don't understand until Cookie Monster is saying, or Elmo is saying Black Lives Matter. Gotcha. So once we've established that, yeah, Black Lives Matters, all lives matters, all of that good shit, we're going to continue to burn this bitch down because we're frustrated. But the looting, I feel the looting sends a different message.
That is an important distinction you're making. Rioting is different from looting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you have a riot, you have everyone on the same agenda, equality. Don't kill me because I am black. Don't harass me because I am black. Don't shoot me because I am black. Equality. If you're not going to do what you're doing to a white person, don't do it to me. So we fucking shit up. And that's what we gonna do until we have racial equality. Because the racism in America has now become enforced by police officers, and more particularly white police officers. And black police officers who see these things should not be allowed to hide behind a wall of blue. Because the same way it happens to him, it can happen to you. Just like the individual that was shot, he was Spanish in the Bronx. When the cops showed up there, first of all, he got his ass beat in a White Castles by the hoodlums. They was in there wilding out in the White Castles. And then they called the cops. And the cops showed up, saw he had a gun, and shot him. Never once did they look in his pocket and say, yo, he's an officer. He was inebriated. I get it. But at the end of the day, they didn't see a person beat up by somebody else on the floor. They saw somebody beat up on the floor with a gun. And they shot him. Moving forward. Rioting looks different when it's sprinkled in with looting. Because when you have, and the presence of looting is merely just a subsect of people that riot, that feel it is okay to deprive another person of something. It is just like robbery. It is just like burglary. They all share the same because it literally is the very same thing. So, and we try to marginalize it by saying, well, if you're going to loot, why don't you loot the Gucci and leave the black families alone? No, because a looter doesn't know the difference between a black business and a white business. Because if they're standing together, if they're in the same place at the same time, I'm kicking the door into both of them. Because a looter job is to do just that. Loot. They're not there for the cause. They're not there for the upliftment of black people. They're not there for the protest. They're not there for the rioting. but they're associating the rioting with the looting. And therein is the difference. Because you can't associate something illegal with something legal in a sense. In a sense. Because rioting is, you shouldn't riot, you should be protesting peacefully, but I understand.
Right.
The cause, the end game is different. A looter doesn't understand why he's even there to riot. So, well, there's a profit to be made, and I'm an opportunist, so I'm going to take this opportunity to help myself to that 50-inch flat screen TV, or that shit ton of Gucci watches, or these sneakers that this store has been closed for the last 3 months. So guess what? Ain't nobody watching it, so it's mine. That sends a very wrong, a very incorrect message to everyone. Because now what happens is, when police see people in the street, they're not looked upon as protesters. They're looked upon as a disturbance. So now the police end up doing the same thing that got us here in the first place, because they can't distinguish between the looters and the protesters. It looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
It looks bad when this. So what did this? All right, this man, he's dead. God bless him and his family. I hope they get over it. However, when little Sam and little John and Day Day and whomever over here is like, yo, it's lit tonight. And everybody is like, well, what the fuck is he talking about? Everybody that he said is lit tonight, they know what he's talking about. But everybody that's trying to protest peacefully, they don't know. All they see is it's lit tonight. So now everybody's in the outdoors at night pillaging. Pillaging. That's a word that is commonly used for raiders. People who raid villages. They pillage and take what they didn't earn. That's a looter.
Right. And so obviously the looting, doesn't help a protest at all.
It doesn't. The narrative.
It doesn't.
For our case,
with the narrative, bro.
For our case, right? It adds to the narrative of the people who be like, see, look at them. This is
right.
This is who
look
they
at
are.
The niggas.
And unfortunately, what the looting does to a protest, right? When they don't even show the full looting, that's the other part of it, right? Because it ain't just these black people out here looting, and
it is
people and to be honest
across
with you,
the board.
It's never been like that. It's never just been 1,000% us. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
At some point they were salted in, and now we're peppered in. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And I've seen footages of areas where we're not predominantly at, and there's looting happening, and with stores that we don't deal with, and people trying to go in and out. Now, that wasn't on no one's news channels, stuff that I saw. That's the people. That's social media getting that up and going, up and riled up. Like, it always bothers me a little bit. This is a side that Twitter is or had struggling getting money. It's so crazy to me because when you really know how to use Twitter, it is still one of my most preferred platforms to be on. Now, I'm not on there as much, but when I go through there, it's like, because I know how to maneuver through it, it's just like, here we go. I hear about something happening somewhere, I'll go look. How I found out about some of the protests happening, I woke up, I saw some starred messages about the protests happening in New York, protests happening somewhere, protests happening somewhere else. So I just followed the hole. I just went down the hole. I found out where exactly they was doing that in Chicago, where exactly they was doing it in LA, where exactly they was doing it in New York City, and I live here. Like, it wasn't just Manhattan. It was in Brooklyn. It was in Queens. It was in Bronx. And I'm sitting here like, wait, hold up. We not just going to town hall. We doing it all over the city. Ooh, this is bad. This is good, but this is bad. Why is it bad? Because I know the looters are opportunists, and they're just waiting for something to happen so that where they can get in and get out, and they don't care what the cause is. They don't care what the situation is. They just saw the need to get some free shit, and that's what it does to a protest. It gives people leverage, although the leverage this time I have to say is not that good, but it gives people leverage to say the things, or to keep their comfort ways of thinking about us the same. So I want to switch it over. We get the looting, we get the rioting. I don't want rioting. However, I'm a fan of history. I am a student of history. I'm not an A student, but I'm a student of history. And I understand that, to what Ramon said, in America, rioting is fucking necessary because you don't understand peace. And with this question right here, this is going to get into that. What does a peaceful protest look like? Let's start with you, Ramon.
A peaceful protest. I don't fuck what it look like. It's useless. So I don't even want to entertain this fucking. Fam, when have we not been about burning shit? The Boston Tea Party. Well, I didn't read about that.
Yeah.
What? So fucking Tom Brady wins a championship, and they get to fucking riot and loot.
Yep.
They wasn't peacefully protesting. And as long as motherfuckers are setting cars on fire for Tom Brady throwing a ball, a fucking sport, son, we could set this whole bitch on fire for the right to breathe. And I want to be clear, because this conversation is so difficult because it's about exhaustively protecting the narrative.
Right.
I'm not fighting for the right to have police not police.
Exactly.
Right.
Criminals are always going to be there, and police always needs to be there.
Right.
What I'm saying
Police
is,
does a fantastic job at what they're supposed to do.
as a whole, there is some wild ass stat of like 90% of police officers retire without ever discharging their weapon.
And that's amazing.
You don't hear about that type of shit.
And it needs to be
why
pulled
would
up.
You?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a conversation directed toward black people, because if you let them, they don't have the tools to get their narrative across. So all police officers are bad. No, not. It's incorrect. Right? It's about protecting the narrative, and that's why this conversation is so fucking exhausted. Fam, this dude Floyd, he has a criminal background. You could make an argument depending on your bias if he was a criminal or not. I don't care. The reason the police were out there seems to be, and I haven't found anything that says not, because the dude was doing criminal type shit, running around with fake money. Fam, my what I'm fighting for, what I'm upset about, police officers are not the judge and jury.
Right.
They are not executioners. They are enforcers. And this man was already in cuffs. They enforced already.
Right.
He should not have lost his life.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Right.
And there's no amount of protesting that seems to even get us close to the hope of alleviating that. I'm
Right.
not. I don't care about protesting anymore. It's my least favorite thing to talk about in these conversations.
For sure. You good, Ramon?
Yeah.
Cool. So exactly what he's saying. Protesting about what happened after the fact. See, I understand Ramon's frustration with the term protesting, because we're protesting what happened after the fact. I get it. It should not have happened. However, we're not conversing about what happened that led him there. And again, it's a slippery slope that I'm not going to put my foot in anything, because I am me. I am only speaking for me and my behalf and how I see things, how I view things, and not just being a part of the system, because I don't think I'm a part of the problem. I am a part of the system. All right. And I think, and just to branch off for 1 second, I think people need to know the difference between system and systematic. All right. Or systemic is a better term. Systemic and systematic. It is night and day. Not even the same. Not even close.
Not even close. Don't even dive into that. Let them do that.
And I'm not. Yeah, do your homework, do your due diligence, because I keep hearing a lot of people saying something is systemic. And I think that they may be trying to, and then I hear them saying systematic. They may be trying to say systematic, because there are a lot of things about this that are systematic, but very little systemic. But again, you do your homework. At the end of the day, yes, I agree with Ramon, because the system of which why they were down there in the first place was, as it may have landed, something illegal, and he was a part of it. So it all went to shits when that unruly, that disgusting officer put his knee on that man's neck, the back of that man's neck, and literally took his life in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So there's no reason for that. There is no. So now, yes, yes, we're going to burn this bitch down. Ain't no talking no more. Now the protest, and again, I understand the difference between a protest and or what it looks like. But we've been protesting since we've been marching in Selma. We've been protesting since the Million Man March. We've been protesting since when it was the cops were killing back in 2014, 2016. We've been protesting.
Fam, we've been protesting since those slave ships got over here.
Protesting.
Some motherfuckers just jumped overboard. Nah.
Yo, let me tell you. You ain't gonna get me. We going to do the science. We going to do the history, because I'm a firm believer in a large group of people in high places in our community have no idea what it means to really protest, and where blacks have come from in our lineage and in our line and in our culture, where the protest started. What about the blacks that protested their leaders in their communities in Africa before slavery? Those blacks that protested, those Africans that protested getting on those slave ships, that protested, because let's be clear, people don't know and they don't understand, and they refuse to read. So when you refuse to read, you'll never know. They don't understand that 90 to almost 100%, almost 100%, and this is where the protest started, 100% of Africans that were taken on slave ships were taken not by force. We were sold into bondage by black people. But they don't know this, and they'll never teach it in school, and they'll never talk about it. A black man will never talk about it, and a white man don't want to talk about it. A black man that knows will never talk about it, and a white man will never talk about it. Because it's more profitable to stay mentally in bondage than it is to break the chains and understand why is it that black people can't even get along. We can't get along with us. We can't get along with police. We can't get along with anyone. I work in a system where I literally see a person go from one place to another, and everybody in that other place wants a piece of this new individual. Why? Why? Because he's a part of another something, another faction, he claims something else. Let's protest why we can't have any further, why we're ununified. Let's protest that. Let's get in front of everyone and first, because I can't change shit about your house until I can figure out what's going on in mine. So this is what happens. That is the breakdown. That is why protesting doesn't work. See, white people don't often protest. Some say, well, why should they? They have the privilege. Well, that is a person's own ignorance. They don't have to protest.
You don't have to protest when you got the power to change shit.
So let's talk about Jews. Holocaust.
I don't want to talk about Jews.
Hey, but you know what? I'm not going deep into it, and I'm not talking about it. Why not? So I want to hear you. I want to hear why we shouldn't, and then I won't talk about it. What do you say, Snow?
No, I just don't want to include them in the conversation. Period.
Why? They're another subsect or another section of people in this world. Let's talk about Chinese. So Chinese people in China, they were protesting because of basically the same thing. It was students though. Not the old people, not the babies, the students. You know what they did to those protesters? They turned their guns on them.
Yeah, but protesting is not allowed in their country, so
yeah, that's another story.
It's not allowed there.
It doesn't matter.
And the thing about the Jewish thing is like they protest, but it's never on this scale of what we is. They follow the same category. They have the money, the power of money beside them to change things. So if they go out and do anything, they just be like, oh, never mind. I know where to hit you at. And it's not a thing. Our problem is that we don't understand how our money works in this nation and across the world. But and until we understand that part, and we get it a little more each, I'd say, decade. But until we fully get it and fully understand it, these protests, which is a fabric of America, will continue to happen. Do they work? They work when they start rioting, because we've been protesting for the last 5 years. Bro, there's just little incidents. No, hold on. In the last 5 years, because that's all as far as I want to go back to, right? Because this is the camera era. This is Eric Garner, Freddie. These are all these people in the last 5 years. Sandra Bland, all these people, right? And some stuff goes down, and all right, cool. We out here protesting in Maryland for so and so, in Baltimore for this person. We're in DC for this person. We're in this person. This is the first time that it's gone nation and damn near global for us that I know of. You get what I'm saying? So the protest has just been a slow burn to what is the riot, which is going to get it done. I don't want the riots. I really don't want the police out there subjecting themselves to COVID. And I believe that the police are going to be exhausted to do what they need to do outside of these protests once this is all said and done. And the reason why I also don't want them upholding or containing these protests is because I want them out there with us. Call the National Guards, call the military, call whoever, because we're not that silly. And all those people know that we don't got no beef with them. This is different, right? You got the police protecting the city or in the middle or between whatever they're protecting with the group that's actually beefing with them. You know, and that's been the cornerstone of a lot of black particular protests with the police. And it's like you're arguing with the same people who get to enforce the law by busting you over your head. Now, do all the police feel that way? No. Are all the good cops bad? No. Remove the police and cops and add black people. It's the same situation, right? So what I am seeing this time around, which is different than any other time I've ever seen at a higher rate than any other time I've ever seen, right? Is that there are police publicly saying, yo, fam, that's wrong. There's videos, there's interviews on news channels, all this stuff, right? There's some that they say bend the knee. I don't like saying that. I don't like saying bend the knee. Like, no, that's not cool because it comes off different. It sounds bad. Yo, come take a kneel with us. Don't bend the knee. Like, you're not bending the knee. And I'm not a cop. Bending the knee means like we're surrendering.
You're under arrest. Get
down or lay down.
Get down,
you know what I mean? Wave the white flag. This is not a white flag situation. Yo, here's what we stand for. Do you believe with us? You believe with us? Okay. Come lock arms with us side by side. And when we decide to take a knee while holding our hand over our heart, going to the flag, we're also in solidarity. But bending the knee, the police got enough to fucking deal with. So do us. And to create that kind of a narrative, fam, no one's going to be cool head. Where we at? We're in June. It's hot. We all know what summers is like in New York City. I'm sure it's like this across the East Coast. Yo, when it gets hot, it don't take much to pop a dude in the face. You don't need this type of environment going into something that's already boiling over. So I would love to see the police on the side with us. Let the National Guard and whoever else they can get to form the line if we got enough troops to do it. Let's organize the protests even more. Like, yo, y'all want to do it in Brooklyn, y'all want to do it in Queens, y'all want to do it where you at, but let's contain it to these areas. Put the faith in us. Put us in the main areas. Put us in downtown Brooklyn. Put us in whatever is the shopping area of Queens. You know what I'm saying? Do it whatever it's at. Let's put the trust in each other's hand. Put the police with us and let's do our thing together. And then we break out and maybe get some hot dogs or something and go home before curfew. Everybody gets the respect here, right? But don't make no goddamn mistake. We want what we want. We're not asking for much. We've never asked for much. People out there have made it more. So the protests do work. They just happen to work better when the riot is attached. The faces of the looters are very telling. Because they're the ones that destroy the language. You mentioned something earlier about the like Jewish, protesting or whatever. You know what? Get that off because it's not I need to hear it.
Well, my original point was geared towards Jewish people being unified and not needing the help of white people, even though one could argue it's a semantic about Jewish people and white people being the same, but skin tone they're the same, culturally they're night and day. However, it is important to it can't be overstated that in our protesting, we have to identify what we are protesting and why. And is it unity amongst all people, or is it racial equality?
It's equality. I don't give a fuck about unity.
Right. And
you know what unity for black people looks like? Christianity. You can get the fuck off my lawn with that dumb shit.
Fact. However,
I'm not with that at all. So there's no unity. We will never be like the Jews.
Right.
Ever.
Right. We got to be better. We have to be better. Black people, we are all fighting. We are all fighting for something that begins with us. We don't know the definition of unity. So we're now fighting for something that looks like unity, called racial equality. And until we can make it better within ourselves, we can't expect another person, like, put it like this. I'll translate it like this. If all three of us head out in the street, every time we go into the street, we get into something with someone. So are we the problem? Or is everybody that's looking at us the problem? Because it's a famous quote that sooner or later you have to start looking at yourself as the problem. If everybody is saying you're crazy, if I'm saying everybody is crazy, what do I look like to everybody? You look crazy. You look nuts. So I say that to say, as black people, we need to identify that some of the problem is internal. Some of the problem, because how I was tying it into with Jewish people, because first and foremost, before I even go there, they're nowhere to be found. They are in their corner.
Not true.
Not 100% true.
Okay.
What we've recently seen.
There's like videos and stuff of Hasidic Jews in Williamsburg hiding protesters from the police.
Hiding. But are they protesting with us?
It don't
You
matter.
ain't gotta hide.
How you contribute is how you
ain't
contribute.
gotta hide.
Okay.
They took you out of harm's way on your
first
journey.
Off,
matters.
first off, do you know how to interact with Hasidic Jewish people?
Absolutely.
All right. Do you know what it means to enter their home? If they're hiding you, and then it also puts something else, like the women aren't supposed to be touched by us. You know what I'm saying? By no means.
Right.
So in the frantic panic or whatever, might be some touching going on. There's a lot at stake for them to even do that, just based on their cultural lines.
They didn't have to.
So by them opening the doors to wherever it is, their homes, their vans, their businesses, whatever it is that they open the door to hide people, son, that's a big deal. It's a bigger deal because we know especially down there, we know the tension between blacks and Jewish people. More so Crown Heights, but everybody gets that in Brooklyn. Everybody feels that tension in Brooklyn.
Right.
And the fact that they came out and just did that's a big deal.
It means the shit's truly off the fucking rails.
Like I said on Facebook.
Definitely.
Like I said on Facebook, fam, the fucking Amish came out.
Yeah, that I recall. I recall Amish and someone else, another culture of people came out to support. You had
you know who didn't come out?
Who?
Jesus. I'm waiting.
So
I ain't seen him.
So I kind of.
Well, a good question is, what would that look like? What would you? So I'll say it, since we're talking protests, just for a conversation piece. What would you say if Jesus came out and said, "I'm here. What's up?"
You would never see it because you're told to take your dumb ass inside and have faith that he could show up one day.
Right.
But he never actually does.
True. But
so this hypothetical doesn't make it too far.
But it's still a hypothetical. We have to
in order for it to be a hypothetical, you have to establish that in some way, shape, or form, this has happened in the past.
One can argue it did.
Jesus showed up when? Not those 400 years. Not on that slave shit on the way here. Not in Jim Crow's South.
Right. But one can argue that
I missed that one, fam.
Yeah, that
I missed that one.
He shows up at a point where he's needed most. When the cops kneeled with the protesters, he showed up.
You thought that was Jesus?
Listen, I'm arguing.
No, a cop showed up and kneeled.
The cops were there. The cops were there.
So you would tell me that Jesus has the sick, what do you call it? The dramatics of irony. That the same motherfucker that's going to choke you is going to kneel for you. That sounds like the same fucking system that continues to oppress black people.
It's part of the same system. However, since you brought Jesus in, because
so we're trying to get him out the conversations, fam. Like you're keeping it going. Get him about the conversation.
We're gonna do this. Fuck it. We pardon. Fuck it. The idea of Jesus showing up is just like the idea of someone seeing God. It hasn't happened. However, it is an idea. It could happen, maybe. It hasn't happened with me, but how does it happen?
I'm gonna answer this question for both me and Ramon.
No, son. Hold on. I think what people are looking for when they see God or when they see Jesus is this grandiose person standing in front of them saying, "Stop that shit right now before I stop it."
Isn't that what they were told from the literature they were given?
Hold on. Before we get to that question, I think people are looking for this grand glowing golden light from out of the sky to step in and fix all of our wrongs.
All of his wrongs.
Fam.
Okay.
Here's the answer to the question. What would Jesus look like showing up in the middle of this protest? He's going to have 3 pairs of Jordans, boxes in his hands, a gold chain around his fucking rope. I mean, a rope chain around him with the Jesus piece hanging, with his fucking bling blinging on his fingers, and saying, "Yo, I just got me some shit. What y'all still doing here?" He's gonna show up and loot. Well, that's my answer to that.
We have just about disrespected every single culture and entity in America.
Questions ain't disrespecting, son. I got questions and I want to see answers, and I ain't seen not a little motherfucking one.
Listen, the other part of it goes. I mean, if anyone feel disrespected for that, you can just go back. You can just rewind. No apologies. Yeah. You could just rewind to very, 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 very not too far from what Ramon just said. There was X amount of years where some shit was happening to his people, his children, because I believe we're also his children, right? Whether you want to believe it or not. If we're going to believe this, then everyone's his child. Well, there was some stuff happening to some people. And did they step in? Did he step in? Did he come? Because it happened over centuries. And then you got centuries of aftermath-ish, right? And then we're not the only people. Some stuff happened to the Jewish people too. Now, I know the irony is, they cast the first stone, though. But, like, you're still the children. You're supposed to forgive, right? What about what happened in Tibet? What about what happened in Greece? Like, there's so many reasons or ways he could have came back. What happened to the dinosaurs? He could have saved them, too. He didn't come back yet. This is the moment where he does it. If this is a thing that's going to happen, this ain't it. We're going to figure this out ourselves, and then we'll speak to him later. This ain't it, though.
I feel like this is a part of the plan. I feel like this is him letting it happen.
Let me tell you something. When the first civilian shoots a fucking RPG at a cop, and the people who is around that civilian don't whip that person's ass for the cops, then you're gonna see probably your Jesus moments, and it ain't gonna look good.
Shit, that sounds more to me like it could be Jesus shooting the RPG at the cops.
I doubt that.
But I feel like skipping the next
I think
topic
because we could
was
just wrap
kind
it
of
up.
Answered. Yeah,
let's just wrap this up. I do have a final thought to kind of like clip this whole thing. We spoke about a lot of things that were, more so about what the protest is and, what a riot looks like or what looting does to a protest. And
Right.
in the beginning, we spoke about, black in America and what does it mean. And, and at the end of the day, America is complicated. We're just looking at 1/4 of what America is or is not. This is what they do when it comes to this, and this is what they don't do when it comes to that. It's a very convoluted story. It's a very convoluted case that could be simplified if everyone wanted to chime in and do it. There are so many sides that need to be heard. There are so many people that cannot be heard, and everyone is participating in their own way, in their own fashion, and what they feel capable of even doing. Right now, I have a friend that's texting me because in New Hampshire, she's protesting, and she wanted to make sure that she knew that she was out there. I said, New Hampshire, y'all ain't got a guess of what this woman is, and meaning that I know her life, she should not be out there right now in case shit goes left. But this is the sacrifice that this person is making because they believe in some shit. And this is what this nation is doing right now. Everyone is believing in something. And if you're a black person and you were speaking negative about, and you're not wrong, you were feeling negative like, yo, this shit's gonna be like this forever. Fam, I'm telling you, you got, whether it's trendy, fashionable, or whatever, even if it's a hidden agenda, so everybody is saying something about it. You can't turn on TV without it. You can't turn on video games without it. Me and Ramon was visiting 2 random ass websites the other day, and it popped up. There's no running from this. It's time that something is being done. When all this is done, though, get your coins ready because we have more work to do, and you're going to be able to contribute to that. Everyone's listening, even if you don't fully agree with what the protest is, but if you understand what the protest is for, and you can learn how to remove the looting and somewhat remove the rioting and understand that we never really hated the fucking police, despite what the song may feel like. That's never been the case. We have black police officers, we have black nurses, we have black doctors, we have black people in the Air Force, the Army, whatever you want to call it. There is no place on this fucking earth. We even have black Klansmen. There's no place on this fucking, in this nation, occupation or anything, that someone of our skin color has not participated in and also paid the great debt. And I am willing to bet that if you dig in deeper into the history, you find out that even in war against other nations, we were not even accepted on that same playing field to fight for the same fight of our fellow Americans here. We're just in a moment of time where this conversation is going to be an actual factual thing at some point. History is being written, and if you don't agree with it today and you look at some of your most prized entertainers, movies, networks, and all that, it's going to be a very long road for you to duck and hide behind your fucking implicit bias of racism or prejudice. It's the same shit at this point, even though they're different. There's no running from this. Being black in America needs to stop being black in America. It just needs to be an American all around. Ain't but so much of this land here. Motherfuckers gonna have to share it. Ain't that many of us. We're a minority, but we contribute so much. Just let us rock. Hear us out. Yeah, I understand all that other shit y'all want to say. Well, what about this crime? What about that crime? Yeah, if you can ask that question, your fingers work. You can do the homework to do that research. We've told you, you've not listened. The reason why I told Tawann not to give a certain lesson is because you need to be engaged to go find the information yourself. I can sit here and tell you all day that, in 2014, New Hampshire riot for fucking pumpkins. The Bad Boys won their first championship and there was a riot. Ramon already said the Patriots won a championship and they rioted. The Canucks lost the game and they rioted. Fucking, there was some shit about in 2011, about a Penn State and some allegations of some nastiness happening, and it was a riot. Like, come on. Don't look at us in this protest and go like, look at them, they out here. No, the riot is the language of this country. When Martin Luther King was murdered and assassinated, which has been proven in 2008 to also include the United States government, look it up. The amount of damage that was done to America after the so-called peaceful protests was tremendous for the city at the time. And something that you haven't been taught in your fucking history books is that they murdered his mother while at church in service.
Why you have to say that?
These are the things that you're not being taught that we know. Again, look it up. Look it up. We don't have to agree on everything, but you need to see the facts. And that's all I got to say on that. Any last words for you guys?
Tawann, you go.
Listen, do the knowledge. Educate yourself before you get online, putting your fist up and kneeling. Know what you're kneeling for. Know what you're fighting for. Know what you're protesting for. Protest peacefully. If you have to burn shit, if you have to burn shit up, make sure it is not shit in your own community that's owned by black people. Because you shouldn't burn shit up at all. Or you shouldn't loot, but you shouldn't direct your frustrations towards the people who look like you. All right. That's about it for me. Ramon?
Okay. My most important message around this dumb shit is to protect the narrative, because it's a very complex topic, and I don't think everyone has the ability to cipher through the complexity and get down to work. Understand and protect the narrative. The narrative is not black people are criminals, right? Because we as black men are doing our part to weed that out. On top of the baseline that there's always going to be bad actors, which means there's always going to be police. But we as black men are doing things to correct the wrongs that we've seen in our community. The lack of parenting, the lack of morals, the lack of respect for humanity, raising kids the right way, raising kids against bias. Like, we're doing things to alleviate what we also know. There are some criminals that happen to be black, and we're doing our part to get rid of that. That's not the narrative. The narrative is not black people will never be unified, therefore we can never get shit done. I don't agree with 85% of what black people have to say, because I'm inherently not Christian. That is not the narrative. The narrative is these people should not be losing their lives in custody. That's something that we can it's in the law, and we can push to make sure that it is enforced. We may never get to a time where the bad actors and the policing don't feel threatened when they see a black person, because there's always gonna be bad actors. But we can get to a time when, because this motherfucker don't like you, don't mean that you lose your life. That's the narrative. That's what it's about. You understand what I mean? That's what needs to be protected. And I'm okay with taking different methods, unconventional methods, unpopular methods. I'm okay with all that shit happening to get to the bottom of that narrative. Totally fine by me. That's it.
Bong bong.
Ladies and gentlemen and listeners, thank you for your time today. My name is Snow.
I am the Kicks God.
My name is Ramon.
And please like, subscribe, tell a friend that it's them again, and we out of here. Peace.
Peace.